I guess I got to start off this podcast to say I apologize.
I don't even know if we're live. Can somebody in comments say if they can see us live?
I guess I've been living in denial. Didn't want to admit it. But apparently I do the podcast with a couple of guys.
There we go.
Whose sense of humor has not progressed beyond the 6th grade.
I would go 7. Junior in high school.
Possibly 7th grade. Possible.
Junior in high school.
More, I'd err more towards the 5th grade side. So as you know, I wasn't able to attend the podcast that you did a couple of days ago.
Oh, you weren't here?
No, I wasn't here.
It felt like you were here.
Didn't even miss me.
It felt like you were here.
Which is fine.
I did miss you.
We had an effigy.
Go back and listen to it.
But apparently,
I missed you a ton.
But
we had fun.
One or both of you decided to put out a picture of me on your social media posts. You know, I don't know if it, and you guys know I really looked at that stuff.
It was our page.
You know, I didn't know if you put it out on your TikTok or your Grinder box or whatever.
Why is he looking at me?
Grindr.
Why is he looking in the general direction of me?
I'm looking at both of you.
No, you're not. You're looking.
I'm looking at Kiefer.
Left.
I'm looking at Kiefer right now.
It hurts.
What hurts?
It's always me.
Are you? So you're owning the fact that you put that picture out?
I posted a picture on our Instagram.
Yes.
The one more and I'm out of here.
The 3
Instagram
amigos,
page.
baby.
So what's the deal? What's the deal with that?
Not personal.
My wife saw that. She's not happy.
Well, and apologize for her not being happy. We bust each other's balls. That's what started this podcast. We were ribbing, but if the podcast was listened to, it was said multiple times how it wasn't the same without you here. We missed you.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't make it.
And it was all in good fun.
Life got in the way.
We missed you. And that's what we said. You had some work to do, and that's all good.
And put it this way, if either Kiefer or I, or let's be honest, Dan, if the 3 of us, and I was telling Keith this today, if the 3 of us on that St. Patty's Day episode in his basement, when we had fucking a box, we all had boxes and folding chairs and shit, drunk as shit at 3 a.m.
I had the recliner, so I was happy with my accommodation.
I know. You had the king's throne. But if one of us had passed out first and the others had
now, if
Sharpies,
we could get the recliner in here,
listen,
that would be cool.
If I passed out first or Kiefer passed out first and we had access to Sharpies, there would be dicks and all kinds of things.
You would draw on my face.
You would draw on my face.
No, I wouldn't.
Bullshit.
I don't know.
We're all juvenile.
You can't completely exonerate.
Again,
it was all in good fun.
You're making my point. 6th grade humor.
All in good fun. And we have all taken part in 6th grade humor. I have hung out with you quite a bit.
My dad can beat up your dad.
Give me an example.
My dad can beat up your dad.
How many men's nights at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning with the dumb bullshit that we all did? 6th grade shit. So I apologize if you're upset, and if your wife is upset, I apologize.
There you go. Talk to Paula.
Stay tuned. The November episode, we're going to show you how to make snowflakes out of paper. And we're going to bring Care Bears to all our listeners so they can hold them.
Like I said before, it was mentioned multiple times that you were missed, and it was not the same without you.
I know.
And I
have not yet had a chance to review that podcast.
You are an integral part, and you were missed. So that's all I can say. And sorry that you're upset.
I'm not.
And that's all I can do is apologize.
Apparently, so I'm told that some people I know shot back a few comments on that.
They
Is
did.
that true?
They did. And I said, we love Dan.
Yeah.
All right.
We're giving them a safe space here at One More and I'm Out of Here to
I have responded to every comment that I've gotten, which was 2. There were 2 comments, and I responded back in the same. We love Dan.
So the outcry has not been overwhelming, is what you're saying.
It's ribbing. We rib each other, and guess what? We either move on or we don't. I don't know.
That's all right.
I know if I wasn't here,
I just couldn't do the podcast without calling it out. So Rob Herking, take it away.
I was waiting. I was waiting for it.
Kiefer, did I not say about an hour ago? I hope to God he comes in and brings this up on the podcast.
I knew it'd be brought up.
I love it,
but that's all right.
Because if I wasn't here,
I'd have done this. I would have brought it up too. Be like, you motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. I would have been super upset, but.
Dude, if I wasn't here or you weren't here, I know damn well you two would be marking up my face.
You're absolutely right.
God, yeah. Dan would be contributing as well.
Where'd that picture even come from?
It was from Cincinnati Pride Night.
Roller girls, buddy. Roller girls.
That was my hand around your shoulder when we drew the
Good
rings.
Friday night.
You and Rob got married. You didn't know.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Did you guys roofing me? Did I get roofied that night?
Absolutely not.
If I did, I roofied myself too because I don't remember anything happening. And I used a condom. I woke up the next morning with a condom.
And watching
I had a great night last night.
the picture of Rob housing that cheese coating.
Yes, pinky up, baby. Bud Light, tall. I was going to do a pretzel, but I had to do something a little bit more phallic. Today is the August 16th podcast, and Kiefer and I developed. You know how we were talking about the Colorado campfire? Are we past this?
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Keith.
Thanks, appreciate
Are
it.
we-
You bitch at Dan about not introducing you. Now I'm going to bitch
Yeah,
at
I
you
know.
about not introducing me.
Are we past the?
See, it all goes around.
Are we past the feelings, Dan? Are you all right?
Let's move on.
All right. Are you good? Do you need to take a moment? Should we pause the podcast so you can regroup?
I can deal with adversity.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You know, we were talking about the Colorado campfire on a couple episodes ago, a couple months ago, in regards to where you put a mushroom, Jesus,
You bring it up all the time.
a marshmallow up somebody's ass. You figure it out. Somebody brought it up to us, but I came up with a new one. It's called the Greta Thunberg. It's in
That's your favorite person.
it's in honor.
You're
of-
saying you thought of this yourself.
I think so. It's where you take an ice cube, put it up your ass, and you try to climax before it melts all the way out, like the melting polar ice caps. Climate change. It is sexual awareness and climate change awareness in the bedroom.
Where'd you look that one up?
I didn't. It hit me the other day. Kind of like an iceberg with the Titanic, baby. It just smacked into me.
Oh my God.
What do you think of that? I thought it was a pretty good one.
How do you know if it's melted all the way?
You don't feel anything in there? I assume there's going to be feeling in
Did
there.
it melt all the way, or did you shit your pants? What happens? Did you lose all sphincter control?
It could be like a cleanse.
It could be.
I don't know.
You probably fucking need it.
I assume people would know if something is still up there. And that way they go to ERs and urgent cares and shit for Matchbox cars and gerbils.
Oh, they go hospital, urgent cares everywhere.
Yeah. So the Greta Thunberg is now out. It's a melting ice cube.
I'm sure that's going to be copyrighted.
Yep. Find it on Urban Dictionary very soon, or Wikipedia or Facebook, where we know it's
She'll
true.
sue you for that.
That's fine.
She's very litigious.
I spelled it differently, and I'm also very judgment proof. She can get a piece of paper worth $1 million, but that's all it is. She can wipe her ass with that piece of paper 1 million times and ain't going to give her any benefit. She's still going to be streaking.
Once she goes out of the news and then comes back in the news, out of the news, back in the news.
Yeah. Didn't she get arrested or kicked out of Germany or some shit? That was awesome. We talked about that too. So, did you guys hear about this Leonard Bernstein and the Bradley Cooper backlash? Bradley Cooper as being anti-Semitic for his portrayal of Leonard Bernstein in Maestro, production, a movie he's doing on Bernstein's life. Did you read about that? Dan?
I had not until you told me about it.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Cancel culture, which we experienced a little bit in the first 3 minutes of this show, has come out against Bradley Cooper for his portrayal of Leonard Bernstein, the composer, famed composer. A lot of shit Leonard Bernstein did.
I like Bradley Cooper, though. I think he's a good actor.
I do too, and he's got a hell of a voice in that one song. Not almost famous.
Star is Born.
Star is Born.
Star is Born.
But he's accused of, quote, not me, Jew face over a prosthetic nose in Leonard Bernstein's biopic Maestro, based their attacks on speculation that Cooper was using a prosthetic nose.
Who's calling him out for this?
NBC apparently pointed it out. Now, this is the most interesting.
Wait. Who's got their panties in a twist over this?
I'm going to get there real quick.
All right.
This is according to Fox News. Before this statement was released on X, which is Twitter, NBC News included data from the Anti-Defamation League that indicated there were 3,697 reports of anti-Semitic incidents throughout the U.S., which it said was the highest number on record since it began tracking them in 1979. And a lot of them were aimed at Bradley Cooper. So they're trying to cancel him out of Hollywood for not. He claims he did not. And the family, Leonard Bernstein, the point of the story is Leonard Bernstein's family came out and said, we are behind Bradley Cooper. He included us in every step of making this movie. And Keith, you got that profile pic of
Yeah.
both?
It had been up.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, that's all right. No, you're reading the article, so it's good.
So the profile pic was up. And if you look at them both, I think Cooper's got the bigger nose, but the story indicates that Cooper used a little bit of shadowing to make his nose more pronounced on the Maestro movie that he was making.
It's
the biopic.
a fucking movie.
Right.
I know.
What a crock of shit.
It's called acting.
Yep.
It's called character portrayal. Hey, what are you supposed to do? Not wear an Indian costume if you play an Indian?
I know. So Sarah Silverman, I
You're not
think,
supposed
came out.
She's an idiot. by
She's
the way.
all pissed off because non-Jews are playing Jews in movies. So she's pissed about that. It's kind of like, God, I say it all the time, Pineapple Express or whatever it was. A white guy playing a black guy playing a white guy playing a black guy.
Tropic
Thank you. God, I always fuck it up. But that's what they were all pissed off about. Poor Bradley Cooper is getting canceled out of Hollywood.
And that Sarah Silverman, she's a fucktard anyway. She's an idiot. She voiced out. I mean, she had a good career as a comedian, but then went away and hadn't been relevant in forever. And now it's a way to get her.
I don't
relevant.
think she's funny.
She had some good bits, but
Is she the one on the roast on Comedy Channel?
yeah.
All right.
Not funny.
So the family,
Just mental note. If you're going to be a comedian, it helps to be funny.
yeah, not so sensitive. Jamie Alexander and Nina Bernstein came out with a statement today or yesterday, one of the two, that Bradley included the three of us along every step of his amazing journey as he made a film about our father. So they're all kids. We were touched to the core to witness the depth of his commitment, his loving embrace of our father's music, blah, 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 blah. Bradley chose to use makeup to amplify his resemblance, and we're perfectly fine with that. We're also certain that our dad would have been fine with it as well. Any strident complaints around this issue strike us above all as disingenuous attempts to bring a successful person down a notch, a practice we observed all too often perpetrated against our father. At all times during the making of the film, we could feel the profound respect and, yes, the love that Bradley brought to the portrayal of Leonard Bernstein and his wife, our mother, Felicia. So the family is saying, fuck you.
I love the fact that the family, took his side. Whether that's even taking a side, they shouldn't even have to, but
No.
that they're supporting him and doing that. Good for them.
Well, to my way of thinking, that's the only thing that matters.
Tab paid.
If
Tab
the
paid.
family's good with it, Bradley Cooper can come out and say, fuck y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem is he'll get canceled out of Hollywood.
Yep.
By all these other groups. And I mean, he's, let's just say he does. Who cares? The amount of money that man's made, it doesn't matter.
No, he never has to work another
Right.
day in his
It doesn't
life.
matter, but it's the principle behind it. And Jill Billy said, so actors can only be cast to play characters they fit every specification for. Where's he acting in that? And I agree.
Yeah, it's going to be all animation.
What about Danny DeVito playing, because Batman came up in the comments,
Oh,
playing the Penguin?
Yeah.
What was wrong with that?
The Penguins might be pissed.
Why don't they cancel?
I mean, what the fuck?
Why don't they cancel Leonardo DiCaprio? Didn't he play a special needs kid in what was that one movie with Johnny Depp?
That's called What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yes, yeah.
That was a good movie.
So cancel his ass.
Yeah. DiCaprio was great in that movie.
Yeah,
That's
cancel.
I think that's what launched him to stardom. Rocketed his career to stardom.
Yep.
Leonard Bernstein's most famous work is West Side Story. He wrote the music for it. The Sharks and the Jets. Great movie. If you've not seen it on a rainy Saturday or Sunday, watch it.
My wife loves that shit.
Oh, I love it. My mom made us watch it when I was in 8th grade.
Maria.
Yeah.
I just met a girl named Maria.
I haven't seen it in ages.
The Sharks, who were recent immigrants from Puerto Rico, and the Whites were vying for dominance of a neighborhood.
The Sharks and the Jets.
Yeah.
Not
Sharks
the
and the
Whites.
Jets. No, the Jets were white. I'm sorry. So it is Sharks and the Whites.
and the Whites.
Sharks and the Whites. My bad.
Rob used to being canceled anyway, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Riff falls in love with Maria, and so begins integration of West Side of the neighborhood. But it's a great movie. A lot of dancing. The dance fights are
It's really
phenomenal.
like a Romeo and Juliet.
That's what it was
story,
based on.
yeah.
It was based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
See, who knew that?
But yeah, as soon as this type of shit happens, I mean, and Hollywood's been canceling everybody, and these groups have been, the cliques get together and, well, you're a piece of shit because you did this or whatever. They're all pieces of shit. Let's be honest.
It's
Well, all I know is that Marky Mark is talking about starting his own or encouraging films to be shot outside of Hollywood. And then Mel Gibson is doing the same thing. I think they're going to team up and try to expose all the child molesters in Hollywood and all the rest of it. So Bradley Cooper can join them, man, and make all the movies he wants.
It's kind of like a sequel to The Sound of Freedom. Or
Pretty much.
yeah, or like an internal look of why that movie was delayed 5 years. You agree?
I think that
Well, Disney sat on it.
Yeah, because of all the shit that was going on in 18, 19, 20.
I mean, I do like the comparison, and then you getting Mel Gibson, Bradley Cooper, and who else did you say?
Marky Mark.
Yeah, Marky Mark. I
Marky
mean,
Mark
they're all moving out of California.
Yeah,
they're all
so
moving
tired
out.
of this shit.
So
Mark Wahlberg's
Let's start doing it.
Catholic. I think shit. Cooper's, I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's Christian. And Mel Gibson's definitely Catholic because he got vilified for shit, some anti-Semitic remark he made, and it was post Passion of the Christ.
yeah, I don't remember what he said,
Which
but I
was a
remember
good movie, except for the fact that you had to read the shit. I hate when you have to read it.
It's because
Called subtitles.
It's because you have to do
know.
work.
It's fucking horrible.
You have to do work.
That's a movie I've only watched one time,
Really,
and I've got it on the DVD at home.
I've never seen it.
it's a good movie. I liked it at least. I watch it.
I couldn't take watching it a second time. It is absolutely brutal, man. It is some of the most brutal stuff on film that you will ever see.
It's almost like one of those old black and white Jesus being crucified movies that actually brought it to real life color and pretty detailed with the crown of thorns and everything.
It's
I mean, it looks
it's
real. Looks real.
You can borrow my. You can keep my copy.
I've got it.
Piggybacking off the Leonard Bernstein nose thing in our description, I put Pinocchio Joe.
Oh,
so
that's anti-Semitic.
So we have an article that Biden raises eyebrows for claiming he watched a 2022 bridge collapse in Pittsburgh, and his quote was, "I watched that bridge collapse. I got there. I saw it collapse over 200 feet off the ground going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out during the pandemic."
That's a fucking lie.
So scrolling down in this article, I got to find it. Where's that? He showed up hours later, and he was miles away from where that bridge. He went to the aftermath of it, but him saying that he fucking watched it collapse and said this in a press conference amongst other people, recordings. What in the fuck are you doing?
He lies about everything.
I mean, granted, we all know he doesn't know where he is at any particular point in time, but how in the fuck our commander in chief, our president, the big man, one of the greatest countries in the world, lies like a motherfucker, and it's going to piggyback into the Maui stuff, the Maui wildfires. You know, we talked about it the last podcast, him stating no comment when they were asking his thoughts about the rising death toll. No comment.
You didn't have a comment on that podcast either, Dan.
That's the one fucking time that you absolutely have to have a comment.
Yeah.
Again, everything you say is a lie anyway, so just fucking lie.
Well, he's
say
gonna
something.
He's gonna go to Hawaii, I think early next week, and
good, great,
photo op, and
great. All the bullshit. After all the bullshit that they're dealing with,
I hope he rides a bike.
Come on, man. He sent those people $700.
$700
per household.
Dead Leg Media and I.
You don't get that just anywhere.
We did a Patreon on the Failure to Stop platform.
You're better off being in fucking Ukraine.
And Dead Leg almost had a fucking stroke because he's got friends there. He used to live there, and he brought up the $700.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? We had a fake disease a couple of years ago, and we all got what, 3,500, give or take,
right?
Depending on the number of times you fucked your.
And then they took half of it back.
Oh, they wanted
taxes.
it back. Yeah. My bad.
This fucking ass clown. Just and we said it on the Patreon earlier on Failure to Stop.
Did you send it by Venmo?
Vote people out. These motherfuckers, and I don't care who you vote for, and Dead Leg said the same thing. I mean, we mimic the same thoughts. Don't care who you vote for. Get these motherfuckers out, though.
I care who you vote for.
Well,
if you vote
you
for,
can't push it.
Vote
you
for
can't
a guy
push.
like Joe Biden, you're dumb as fuck.
That's what we're saying. Vote them out. get these motherfuckers out of there, because these guys and gals don't give a shit about you.
Let's all serve 3-month notices, like an eviction. 3-day notice. Fuck that. 3 month, man. We're coming up on it in November.
I like it.
That's 3 months from now.
I mean, that's why Biden had to drop out of his campaigns back when he ran back in the late 70s and early 80s, because the media did its job back then. And they called him out for lying about when he was in law school. They called him out for his plagiarism, where he stole other people's speeches and claimed them as his own.
Well, that's what he's doing now as president.
He's a well-known liar, a documented liar and plagiarist. And just because he's the flavor of the month, or was when he was running against Trump, doesn't change any of that. The guy's still, and he lies about everything. You got that clip I sent you?
Deadleg says you're going to get me to yell fuck again. Yes, I do. I do have that clip.
Is he yelling fuck every time I say it?
Today he was on a tear on Last Call and Failure to Stop, and then when we did the Patreon.
What was Deadleg been out of shape about?
Well, because he's very passionate about
the Hawaii thing.
Yeah, because he's got people there. He's got people there that are missing people.
Cincy 513 brings up a good point. All presidents fucking lie. All politicians, all people lie. Let's be honest. But politicians do it on camera. It doesn't matter what your party affiliation is.
Let's see which one.
It is a bullshit popularity contest. It's like getting on Facebook, see how many likes or followers you can get on Instagram or anything else. That's all it is. And guess what? You get a prize for it. It's horse shit. There needs to be some kind of substantial change with the way we're doing things.
I got your clip, Dan.
Or the failure.
Name me a single objective we've ever set out to accomplish that we failed on. Name me one.
Riding that
in
bike.
all of our history. Not one.
That complete and utter buffoon.
So there's Biden, and this is him. I mean, he's like an old man shouting at the stars in the sky.
Yes,
he's completely out of control, and isn't that a sign of Alzheimer's? when you just start.
So we'll start with sundown.
Sundown.
It's the same shit.
He's got, and this is 2 years after his failed withdrawal from Afghanistan, where he got 13 members of the American military killed by a suicide bomber. You've got the worst inflation in 40 years, and now he's talking about how great it is because inflation's coming down. Well, he jacked it up to the worst inflation in 40 years.
He stagnated the real estate industry because interest rates are so fucking high.
Nobody's
buying anything because they don't want to get dumped into a 7% fucking mortgage.
Highest gas prices we've ever seen, and I don't know if you've noticed lately, but gas prices are on the march back up.
I've just been siphoning yours.
We're approaching $4 a gallon here in the greater Cincinnati area. What, $3.69 I think is what most places are now.
That's what I saw today.
So it'll be above $4 a gallon in the next couple of weeks. Biggest rise in food prices since 1979. Real wages, the money, and that's another thing he talks about. Oh, people are going out getting jobs. They're getting better jobs, better paying jobs. Well, no, people are working multiple jobs. And anyone that's listening to us right now, do you know anyone in your life that in the last 6 months or 2 years has gone out and gotten a higher paying job, a better job, is earning more money, is happy with the way things are when they go to the grocery store, when they buy gasoline, when they pay their utility bills? Think about it in your own life.
Can I add on to that?
Please.
I can say yes, but it's to your point though. The fire service now, in this area at least, you're seeing starting salaries so fucking high that I had never seen anything like it. You can go and jump from this department to another department, probably for another $20,000 more a year, but it's because of what COVID did, everything that he did. Nobody wants to fucking do it anymore. Same thing with police. I mean, I can't speak for police salaries, but nobody wants to do those jobs anymore. So these departments are short-staffed. They're so desperate that they have to up the salary to get people in the door. But it's all cause and effect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the military is short of its goals. Cincinnati police cannot recruit anyone to show up for their recruiting classes. I think it's the same way with the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
I think they used to have 200, 300, 400 people show up for a recruiting class.
You'd have 4,000 take the test. The last test that Cincinnati gave, there were 900.
Yeah.
And they usually take classes of 40.
People don't want to show up.
There's a police force in Minnesota, and I can't remember where exactly it is or what the name of the town is, but I read the police chief and the assistant chief resigned because they could not get any recruits, and there is no police force now there. I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shithole.
And you've got cities all over the country that voted, when it was popular, when the wind was blowing the right way. Well, let's defund the police. And don't forget, the vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris,
Goodhue, Minnesota,
was one of those who said we need to reimagine policing, which meant defund the police. And now, what are all these cities doing? You got D.C., a councilman in D.C. who says we need to bring in the National Guard. You've got a council person in California, in San Francisco, who says that the people she represents are not getting served by police in the Tenderloin district, which is what you got all the drugs and the homelessness and all that shit going on down there.
I thought they just sold sandwiches.
Yeah, maybe that too, but I don't know what the hell they're doing down there. But then you go listen to her audio from a couple of years ago, and she's talking about how we should defund and get rid of the police. And now she's complaining that the people she represents don't get served by police. Well, what is it? I mean, for God's sake, put two and two together, you stupid shits.
It is a complete nutter.
Show that video.
Which one?
The one I sent you.
Which one?
Fuck around, find out.
Okay, that one. You sent me.
Jesus Christ! I thought he was telling you to fuck around and find out.
I got a question for you. I got a question.
I was waiting to see if I was going to get punched.
I'm not answering it. No comment.
This is fucking great, though.
Yeah. Look at this.
That nigga big tweaking, bro. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Oh, fuck.
Look at this dirtbag.
Yup. Big.
Thinks it's cool throwing on a cop.
Oh, with the two-piece. Yup,
There's
big.
another left.
Big.
Here comes combination.
Big.
Now we're going to get into a little ground and pound.
Fucked up his game.
Yes, sir.
Look the shit out of this.
Love the dude.
That nigga big tweaking, bro. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at that shit.
I don't think that motherfucker could fight his way out of the wet paper bag.
Now,
Holy
see,
shit.
that cop, I'm behind that cop 1,000%.
But we were talking
And
about
look,
before
see,
we went
right
on.
there, when he's on his knees, that guy's got access to his gun. So that guy's lucky he didn't get the cop didn't pull out his nightstick. He's lucky the guy didn't pull out his taser. And if he would have tased that dude multiple times, I'd be 100% fine with it.
Oh, everybody drank. But
100%.
Damn it. Quit saying that.
that's two.
I did say 1,000% earlier.
But Dan and I were talking. That cop ends up shooting him. And that cop's probably going to get fucking reprimanded and whatever for doing what he did, even though he shouldn't. I think we're all in agreement that he shouldn't. But now the cancel culture is out there. Everyone's going to pull that. They're going to pull that video and be like, well, he was already down. So why did he have to keep
Bullshit.
Why do you have to keep hitting him? Well, he had access to fucking kick him in the nuts.
Do you see that guy throw on him?
Fuck yeah. Well, I mean, he tried to throw on him.
See, that's video in context.
I love that.
So we see the context of that.
I love that. Fuck around and find out. Good for you. Good for you. That was a good one.
Every once in a while.
But that's the problem. Cops don't want to do that shit anymore. They don't want to be in that position because they're afraid of the repercussions that come behind it.
But the climate that we live in today, there's an entire generation of scumbags and dirtbags like that who think it's perfectly fine to resist arrest, to throw on a cop, and then get the shit kicked out of you, and then lawyer up, and then you'll be able to get a big settlement and get the city to pay millions of dollars.
Yeah.
What say you there, Mr. Defense Attorney?
Sounds good.
What question did you have for Rob?
You following the trial of the Bengals running back Joe Mixon?
I knew he was supposed to take the stand today, right?
They've been saying for the last 2 days he's going to be taking the stand, and apparently he hasn't.
Are they still on the state's case? Or is the state rested yet?
I think that's a good question. I've been working all day, so I haven't been able to follow it.
I saw just a blurb, but
yeah,
I didn't see.
If the state's still presenting evidence, witnesses, etc., they're not going to call Mixon. They can't. So it's got to wait till the state rests. Then the defense has the opportunity to present their case with witnesses or any.
I understand how it works.
They're the ones that have to call Mixon. So if it's still delayed because of the state's presentation, he won't go on today. But I haven't read specifically what the testimony was from the state's witnesses in regards to who saw what.
The analysis that I heard today from Mike Allen Jr. was that he thought that Shiverdecker and Croswell were doing such a great job that
Scott and Merlin are great.
That they were going to leave it up to their client, Joe Mixon. They were going to say, look, I think we've got, he said, I think we've got this in the bag. You don't need to testify. But if you want to testify,
it's his choice.
Get up there and do it.
And it's your client's choice.
Well, sure it is.
I've had many of that conversation. Look, here's the pros, here's the cons. It's your choice. Here's my advice. And it just depends. I mean, it's a bench trial, correct? It's not a jury. It's with Judge Bender, I believe.
The way the courtroom was set up that I saw, it looked like it was a bench trial.
Yeah, I think it's just with the judge. So the judge will be the decider of the
which I think in this case is a smart move.
The evidence. Yeah. I mean, you never know with the jury, man. We've talked about that with the OJ and other shit. You don't know, but with the judge, I mean, judge is going to apply the law to the facts and the evidence. Whereas a jury could get thrown on a side street and they're fucking walking down. I've heard some jury questions like, why is that important? But lay people think some things are important that aren't legally.
With a bench trial, you remove a good part, not all of it, but probably 99 point something % of the emotion of the trial, which a jury can get caught up in. And emotion doesn't, to my way of thinking, doesn't count the same as hard facts or evidence.
Yeah. I mean, they can get lost in the weeds. And do I like juries? Yes, because it gives me in a misdemeanor case 8 people instead of 1, and I just need 1 of them hung up. Or in a felony case, it's 12 jurors in the state of Ohio, and I just need 1.
So, for those of you not in the Cincinnati area listening and watching the podcast, Merlin Shiverdecker and Scott Croswell are 2 of the best known defense attorneys in the Cincinnati area, and They do a lot of high-profile cases and considered some of the best defense attorneys you can possibly get. But the question I have for you, Rob Herking, is why do you think Mixon decided to go that route instead of dialing up Herking Law for his defense?
Because Herking Law is not advertising.
Oh, is that it?
I don't know. I mean, Croswell and Merlin.
Would you have taken that case?
Yeah.
Would you have taken the Joe Mixon case?
Hell yeah. But Croswell and Shiverdecker, I mean, they're good. They've been around here. They're younger than you, but they've been around for a long time. They've done a lot of shit back in the 80s, 90s. They've just been around.
I don't think Shiverdecker's younger than me. I don't think Croswell is either.
I think they both are. They look younger.
No, I don't think so.
I see him in court on a regular basis. I just saw Scott the other day.
I don't think so.
He looks great. But yeah, I mean, it got the attorney of your choosing.
What did that?
I'm just saying he had the option to dial up Herking Law, but instead he called Scott Croswell. That's all.
Well, Scott represents a lot of Bengals. So does Merlin.
What did that chick say to him? If you're going to pull that gun, you better use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like.
Do you believe that?
I don't.
I mean, how hard is it? To my way of thinking,
in downtown Cincinnati.
What is he charged with? Aggravated menacing.
Yes, I believe that is what I read.
Let's see. So this is beautiful. I don't know it by quote, but knowingly cause another to believe that the offender will cause serious physical harm to the person or property of the other. That is aggravated menacing, Section A. Aggravated menacing. Knowingly believe, if you thought somebody was going to cause you serious physical harm, would you fucking taunt them with, you better use it if you're going to pull it? I mean, that's like a big guy looking at somebody that's small and say, I'm gonna beat your ass, and the small guy saying, grabbing his dick and saying, go ahead, motherfucker, I bet you, I dare you. I would imagine that little guy is probably not that scared.
I mean, with not being there, don't know exactly what happened, but I find that,
and I don't know the evidence.
Unplausible
I don't
that
know
that
what the testimony is. But
So the headline on Channel 5 is that the prosecution calls final witness as trial against Bengals Mixon continues. So I guess prosecution.
what time
wrapped
was
up
that?
today.
What time was that, Stan?
This story was posted by Brian Hamrick an hour ago.
Okay, so it's still in the state's
yeah.
hands.
So the defense hasn't got the case yet.
So we'll find out tomorrow. Thank God I'm not around Hamilton County tomorrow. I am. I'm heading east.
he's got bigger fish to fry.
Oh my God,
out in Brown County.
They had that murder trial out in Claremont County. Not murder. It was Bumpus, the one from Kentucky where they found the girl's remains out in East Fork. And you would have thought there were bomb threats called in on a regular basis at that courthouse. Briefcases, everything's getting scanned in pockets and shit. Good thing I didn't have a fucking metal hip or something like Dan. Wouldn't have gotten in the courthouse.
Seeing you some days walk in here, it looks like you have.
I know. It's because I've done about 300 miles in my fucking car.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
So the trial goes on to a fourth day tomorrow at 9 a.m.
That is a long bench trial.
4 a.m.
I couldn't imagine a 4-day fucking misdemeanor case. I think 2 days was the longest I had in a misdemeanor. I mean, I've had week-long felony trials, but maybe that even bled in with a jury deliberating to the next week. I couldn't imagine 4 days with a bench trial in municipal court.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
This says the key to the case is the alleged presence of the gun, and the prosecutors can prove that Mixon had a gun at the time of the alleged incident.
How did they prove that?
I mean, wouldn't that already be stipulated?
No, you don't stipulate to that. I'd make the state prove it.
There are 3 days into this trial, and the prosecution hasn't proved yet that Mixon had a gun in his car.
Well, I don't know. It's Brian Hemrick.
I mean,
How much time did Brian spend in the courtroom is what I want to know.
he's probably there every day
I don't
covering
know.
this.
Or is he popping in and out? Just getting a gist and flavoring and fluffing the fucking news feed.
Which we have talked about the media and how it.
But if you're
how
the
it does it
prosecution-
isn't completely truthful all the time.
if you're the prosecution, isn't that one of the first things you do?
Well, I think
Is establish. I mean, we know he's got a concealed carry. He owns a gun. We know that.
is everything the news says true? No. I've
No.
watched weather reports where it's going to rain today and it doesn't rain.
But the way I read this sentence tells me that the prosecution hasn't proved yet that he had the gun in the car. Wouldn't that be a key
I would think that
to the aggravated menacing that he pointed a gun at this gal?
I would think the prosecuting witness who testified, the woman in the car that said, if you pull a gun, you better use it, or whatever she said, allegedly. Her testimony in regards to he had a gun and he pointed at me would be circumstantial evidence, even without direct, of somebody saying I saw a gun other than her, that he did in fact have a gun that the judge could consider. You know, I mean, there are cops. Shit, what was that? Timothy Thomas back in 2001, where he had a cell phone in his hand and the cop shot him and the riot started because they thought it was a gun at 1 o'clock in the morning down in an alley. Was that Thomas?
Yeah, and he was also running.
Yeah, he was running from the cops, turned around in a dead end of an alley and had a cell phone in his hand.
Yeah.
Cop thought it was a gun, shot and killed him, and all hell broke loose. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could think about it, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't sat and watched any of it. I haven't read any transcript of it. Most of the reporters I see that are in courtrooms like this aren't there the entire fucking time.
Other
So,
stories.
Yeah, there's other stories. There's other feeds.
No, there were times I covered trials. I sat there the entire time.
That's because you were carrying somebody else's bag.
The entire time. Took notes.
There are some reporters that will stay there the whole time, but they may not have the same break schedule as the jury or the judge does. You know, they may have to pee when the judge is going a little extra long or whatever. So I unless you listen or read the transcript of every word spoken in that courtroom, and even reading and listening is not the same as watching the demeanor of a witness on the stand, because body language tells a lot about credibility of a witness or anybody in life. We all do it. I mean, you pick up on some mannerisms of people that you talk to on a regular basis that I don't really believe this person, what they're saying right now, or you're a little incredulous with what they're saying.
How about Shiverdecker? He asked the police officer that responded to the scene. He asked if the police did a size comparison between vehicles to see if it was possible for the victim to even see if Mixon had a gun.
What was Mixon driving?
The sergeant responded, no, they had not.
Well, you try to pull the string, see if you can loosen up the shirt. All you need
That's a great question, though.
You need reasonable doubt. I'm pointing at everything. You don't have DNA on this gun, but you're saying my client had a gun.
That's a great question.
Why didn't you test a gun for DNA?
So with that, with Rob's legal corner, I'm going to pull this up and get your opinion.
Oh shit! I didn't know it was Q&A with Rob.
It is. So Alec Baldwin could be charged again in that fatal Rust shooting, as the expert that they sent the gun off to says that the trigger had to have been depressed. In the story, it says depressed at some point.
Anti-anxieties help, the medication. A lot of people are dealing with depression. I know. I'm joking.
I know
what you're saying.
And it's so dry and dumb.
Well, it's like raising. They raised that building. No, they didn't. They took it down. The words don't really mean what you think they mean, but depressed means pull the trigger.
Yes. So, and
there had to have been some overt act on that trigger for it to fire.
And firearms have, depending on the weapon, have a certain amount of pounds per square inch to get the gun to fire. Now they set this gun off to this, supposed expert. Not saying he's not saying he is, because I don't know who the fuck he is, but Alec Baldwin in every interview said, I did not pull the trigger on that gun. It was almost like a Bill Clinton. I did not have sex with that woman.
It depends on what your definition of is.
But the fact that that guy could potentially get charged again, how does that work?
We kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. I mean, he had the involuntary manslaughter charge that was ultimately dropped. Now, Baldwin's saying that he did not depress that trigger or pull that trigger. If you guys think of the old Wild West shows where they got the open hammer that's exposed that drops down to fire, strike the bullet itself to cause the mechanism to go on the shit. What is that stuff? Black powder to trigger and propel the object out of the barrel of the gun.
Right.
Most guns now, the semi-automatics that we see without a trigger on the outside, like your Glocks and shit, still have the same mechanism inside of it. So when you depress that trigger, it's still a hammer-like aspect to it.
It's just inside
that strikes the bullet. So if Baldwin's saying he did not depress it, there's a firearm expert that says the only way that gun's going to fire or dispel ammunition from its barrel is if you depress that. Baldwin typically is going to be charged with, if they're going to charge him with something, it's going to be obstruction or falsification or some kind of false statement to law enforcement.
Because that involuntary manslaughter was already dropped.
Doesn't matter. They could still file it. Even if they brought it, it was dismissed. He didn't go to trial and win on it. So there's not double jeopardy there.
Okay.
But nonetheless, it sounds like they're thinking of maybe some kind of obstruction thing, which in Ohio, depending on the situation.
Well, what if he believes he didn't pull the trigger? How is that obstruction? How is that obstruction? If you make someone do their job.
I know a lot of clients that get arrested and convicted of OVI that don't believe they were impaired. Just because your subjective belief of you pulling this, and it can be proven.
But that's an objective test you can take, though.
Yeah. No. So is pulling a gun or pulling the trigger on the gun.
So this article says that as the film's armor, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, gears up for her scheduled December trial, her legal team focused on a new report from independent forensic firearm experts, I believe that's Lucian Haig and Mike Haig, who were commissioned by the prosecution, concluded that Baldwin had to have pulled the trigger of that gun in order for it to fire. So, he was claiming a gun malfunction originally. And a lot of the interviews that I had watched, read, that's what he was portraying is there was a malfunction of the gun. So the armorer's prosecution has sent that gun off again, because I'm sure it was sent before. And
it's going to be a battle of experts, I assume.
Right. That's the way it sounds to me.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, if depending on with Baldwin, If the state has an expert that's saying that you got to depress the trigger to propel an object from that barrel, I'm assuming the defense, if he is charged, is going to get an expert to come in and testify for reasons why you don't have to depress that trigger to propel an object out of that barrel.
Right.
And the jury or the judge, whoever the fact finder is going to listen to both experts and the other witnesses and make the determination of which expert they believe.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's just, it's an intriguing story because, I mean, obviously it had been in the headlines, kind of went away. You know, once he was, you know, I don't know if exonerated is the right word, but wasn't charged anymore, went away, and now it's rearing its head again. So I find it interesting just to see when you see these high profile people, when they get into trouble, and then how the legal teams come in and how it plays out. I just don't, I didn't pay too much attention to it in the beginning, but
the thing is, I mean, that guy has made hundreds of movies. Hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and for him to play dumb and act like he didn't know what was going on.
Well, he's also an actor.
Jill brings up a good point, by the way. The armor, I think, had the ultimate responsibility. Although, put it this way, if an officer of a police department, which happens on a regular basis, is sued for excessive use of force or some kind of a shooting of a suspect, civilly sued or criminally going forward, civil is a better example. They're going to sue not only that officer in their individual capacity, they're also going to sue the police department, which is typically a municipality, state entity, et cetera. And they have the deeper pocket than the individual officer who probably doesn't have any insurance that's going to pay. The plaintiff's attorney and the plaintiff are looking for money on a civil case. So Jill's point that it was the armor's ultimate responsibility is true and accurate. Criminally, though, if Baldwin lied to police during the course of their investigation and hindered that investigation, he could be charged with obstruction or something comparable, wherever that was.
I don't know. To my way of thinking, in real life, if you're an adult and you have a gun in your hand, you're responsible for what happens to that. You pull that trigger, you're responsible for that round that comes out of that chamber.
Yeah, but when you're making movies, you assume it's going to be blanks.
Well,
you don't do live fire typically. But my understanding was from the previous.
That's true. I mean, if it was a rehearsal, there was no reason for that gun to have blanks, real bullets, anything in it.
My understanding
that
was
could come out of that barrel.
My understanding was there was real ammo and blanks on the set of this movie,
which I disagree. That should have never happened anyway.
And they were playing with the guns, the toys. I mean, who doesn't have a nice gun that they want to take out and show friends, let them shoot and shit like that? And I'm assuming the armorer was trying to build some affection and affinity with the crew and the cast.
Could be.
And I can get some real ammo for this, and we can go shoot it in between takes and this and that at night. Whatever.
Well, that's a story. They were out there fucking around with it the night before.
They were fucking with it, and somehow the real ammo and the dummy ammo got misaligned, or maybe somebody didn't unpack a magazine on that firearm and left one real one from the night before shooting and put a bunch of blanks in there. You never know.
Faulkner said, "Go ask Brandon Lee," which is exactly what happened to him. It's exactly why he's not here.
Maybe the armor was a diversity hire. Maybe not a good idea.
No, she was actually pretty attractive.
Maybe she was drunk.
Again, not a good idea.
Not a good idea. It goes back to dancing.
They kind of all go in that same category.
Look around and find out.
Not a good idea.
She was a very attractive white woman.
Is it just me, or did we not have this day in history?
And she looks like the woman
we have not had
Peaky Blinders, the agent that I was just talking about. I got sucked into that.
Peaky Blinders, that was a good show.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I got to quit watching. I stayed up till 3 watching that shit show last
night. That is a good, and the way they did the ending was outstanding.
Do you have a this day in history?
I do have it, but can I hit one thing real quick?
Sure.
It's kind of historical.
You absolutely can.
Thomas Edward Lawrence, better known as T. Lawrence and recognized even more famously throughout the world as Lawrence of Arabia, was born on this day in 1888. According to some, they claim that 7 Pillars of Wisdom, which were one of the books that he wrote, was the most important book on warfare ever written. Jesus. Lawrence wrote, this is a quote from him, "All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. During World War I, he worked as a British intelligence agent.
Who are we talking about here?
Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, okay.
And fought with Arab forces to defeat the Turks. He was born today in 1888.
Well,
Lawrence of Arabia.
William of Wallace said, "Every man dies, but not every man really lives."
You cannot take our freedom, also, he said.
That's a good line. Braveheart? Come on, man. You've seen Braveheart.
I have. I feel like you two are preaching over here. It's awesome.
How good is that movie?
It is a good movie.
2018.
That's on my all-time top 10, by the way.
The Queen of Soul died.
We got to do that one day, our all-time top 10 movie lists.
We should.
Let's do it.
Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, died in 2018.
I can tell you mine.
Today's
Tell
date.
me yours.
Weren't you just asking for today in history?
I just asked if we had done it. I didn't ask you to do it.
Fuck. What do you have, another fucking stroke?
Oh, I love it.
1977, American singer. Here we go, Dan. Elvis Presley, known as the king of rock and roll.
He died on this day.
Died of a heart attack brought on largely by drug abuse.
I'll never forget that.
Say no to drugs, kids.
My friends and I were at the Summit Swim Club where we hung out every day, and I think today is the day that the kids went back to school. But back then, we didn't start school. Do they go tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay. But back then, we didn't go back to school usually until September or after.
Are you talking 1977?
Yeah.
Fuck, I was 2 years old.
1977, I was a kid. And we hung out, me and all my friends hung out at the Summit Swim Club back then. And I remember
that's
the
where you
news.
still hang out. And you're calling us sixth graders?
I still hang out as an adult with an adult sense of humor.
An adult.
But I still remember, I mean, and that news shocked us. And I remember we did put a little newscast together talking about the death of Elvis Presley, and we went around interviewing people, getting their reaction to the death of the king.
Kind of like
and now
one more and I'm out of your news.
The end is near.
Sammy the Squirrel's death.
And so I face
same neighborhood.
The final curtain. Elvis, he was the best. Here, let's salute to Elvis.
Here to the king.
Salute to
100%.
Elvis. There we go. I'll drink to that.
1954, Canadian filmmaker James Cameron, known for his expansive vision and innovative special effects movies, notably Titanic or Greta Thunberg's, was born. He also did Avatar, the blue people that plug into trees.
That movie sucked.
What, Avatar?
Avatar blue.
I liked Avatar.
I was not a fan.
It blowed chunks.
Titanic sucked going into it because you knew how it ended. That sucked. It sucks when you know the ending to a book or a story. Why you even started?
I have to admit, I'm a sucker. I'm a little bit of a sucker for a big budget blockbuster, and
I am too. I like Avatar.
We watched Titanic, and I kind of liked it.
You know, I was dating my wife.
Leo DiCaprio, man. I mean, come on, he's pretty good.
I think I was dating my wife at the time when that movie came out, and somebody gave me a pirated VHS video of that movie, and I thought, all right, I'm a swinging dick motherfucker. I got the movie before it's in cinemas.
How was the quality? Could you see it?
It was on a tripod in a Chinese theater with subtitles. I mean, we watched the first fight. I'm like, fuck this. Let's go. 1954, the first issue of Sports Illustrated was released.
That's how I first saw Star Wars, was on a pirated video that like came out of the Philippines or something like that.
I can't do it.
I'm not shitting you. In the middle of this, like the first 2 minutes, some fucking little Chinese guy gets up and he comes back. When he came back with a bucket of popcorn, that's when I hit stop. I'm like, fuck this.
He didn't have the General Tso chicken?
No, I didn't see any fucking chopsticks either. So I guess they eat popcorn
Is that the
with
chicken
their hands.
with the peanuts in it?
That's
I don't like
racist.
that.
No,
That's
it's xenophobic and it's patriotic. 1948, American baseball legend Babe Ruth died at 53. R.I.P. Babe.
So you're telling me that the King and Babe Ruth died on the same day?
Sure did.
How about that?
Talk about two motherfuckers that did not take care of themselves.
That's
23 years apart, too.
It's Rob
Dale.
Herky.
That's all right.
What are the chances of that? Two of the biggest icons, two of the biggest names.
Dan, you got
American
365 fucking days in a year. Think of how many famous people have been around for our lifetime alone.
But I mean, when you talk about the Babe and you talk about Elvis, you don't get much bigger than that.
I don't know.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that
I
statement.
was never a fan of
you.
Elvis. And I when people say he was the king, I don't get it because I've listened to his shit. It's all right. His acting sucks. I would tell you that. I've watched some of those fucking Hawaiian movies, the beach things.
So
those
what?
things are horrible. I'd rather watch that.
You would do it too if
I'd rather watch the
they would
Titanic.
throw the kind of money at you they were throwing at Elvis Presley.
Well, if they throw the money at me to watch that Titanic thing with a little fucking Chinese guy going to get popcorn, I'd watch the whole fucking thing. But otherwise, I'd rather watch that than an Elvis movie.
He had a couple of good movies.
Who, Elvis?
Yeah.
No. What? Give me one.
Viva Las Vegas.
Never seen it.
Good one. And
No, I have seen part of it and I turned it off. Kind of like the Titanic. I don't even know if it made it longer than the Titanic when I turned it off.
no, there's another one that he did that was
He wasn't Beach Blanket Bingo, or was that the chick from Mickey Mouse Club?
no, that was
Annette.
yeah, that was the
shit.
Annette Funicello,
And what was the guy's
Frankie
name?
Valli or
Yes,
something like that.
Frankie,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see here. What else is going on? Oh, 1780. Let's celebrate this. An American force was beaten by British troops under Charles Cornwallis, first Marquis and second Earl Cornwallis, in the Battle of Camden during the American Revolution. Remember Cornwallis? I remember him in
the
Patriot.
The
Yep.
Patriot. Yep.
That was a great movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I did.
Played by Donald Sutherland.
Was that Donald Sutherland?
What?
No, he had the Great
Patriot.
Danes.
That was Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
I know
played-
Mel Gibson was in the Patriot, but I mean
No,
Cornwallis was,
It
No,
wasn't
no.
Sutherland. It was
Okay.
I can't remember his
but
name.
he was a real dick.
He was a dick.
Yeah.
He had the Great Danes and shit that took off.
Yep.
Is he the one that put all the people in the church and burned them in the church?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was. I don't think it was him, but it was that one fucking asshole.
It was his dudes.
Yeah, his little henchman.
I can't remember the names.
So one thing I love about Mel Gibson movies, the bad guys in his movies are really, really
Yeah.
bad guys.
Yeah, kind of like Pontius Pilate, and
Like
Passion of the
Longshanks.
Christ.
Longshanks and
Pontius Pilate.
what's the name of that movie again?
What?
Longshanks.
I have no idea what
Braveheart.
No,
you're
and Braveheart.
Jesus.
The
Oh,
king.
It's been forever since I've seen it.
Remember he throws that dude out the window?
I remember that part, but I don't know the names.
Okay.
I can't remember names like that.
Tomorrow we won't be on. the air.
Longshanks.
But I will tell you this: English author George Orwell published Animal Farm tomorrow in 1945, an anti-utopian satire that became a classic. I still like 1984 better than Animal Farm. Just saying. 43.
Fuck, we're living 1984 right
I
now.
know. 1943, Dan's favorite actor Robert De Niro was born, and
And a year after his fucking first kid was born.
You know what? I like De Niro.
I like him as an
but
actor. I don't
his
like him as a
politics,
person.
I wish he would just fucking shut his fucking pie hole when it comes to talking about politics.
Yep.
I mean, it's such a turnoff, man. And De Niro has done such great stuff. It's a shame that when his time comes, it's going to be clouded by the political shit that he got into.
Well, his kids aren't going to care because he has 75 of them.
Tomorrow.
He just had one.
Yeah,
like
you think he
6
knows?
months
You
ago.
think he knows all the names of his
He
kids?
just had one like 6
I
months
know,
ago,
I know. And what is he? 76.
and
years
they're all
old,
going to be
something?
loaded.
Tomorrow, also, big day tomorrow, 1945. Robert Joseph Herking was born. My late father,
Who's that?
my dad, you dickhead.
Uh,
He died in
Is your
2012.
dad's birthday?
Yeah.
Well,
He
happy
died
birthday.
August 27th, 2012. So come up to the Varsity, 8112 Beachmont Avenue. We're going to get Limburger cheese, rye bread, and onion. One fucking beautiful feast.
It's gross, but
I love it.
But I respect it because
We used to
Your
do it
dad
on
liked it.
Fridays once every other month down at ATP. And I fucking hated it until I tried it with pepper on it, with the rye bread and an onion. You got to take some Pepsid or an antacid before you eat it because that onion is going to kill you the next day. But nonetheless, and wear latex gloves because it's like being back in high school after a Saturday night. Cannot get that shit off your fingers. It stinks.
happy birthday to your father.
Thank you. And this one goes out to the ladies. 1920 on August 18th, the 19th Amendment was ratified. Thank you guys very much. You won the right to vote. And then the following
Yeah,
year,
and
I
then
think they
then
got
you-
rid of alcohol, didn't they?
Then you fucked up everything after that.
Then you got rid of alcohol. Thank you guys.
That's
Appreciate you.
One of the worst decisions ever.
Hey, Keith.
I'm not even touching that one. I can't. I'm not.
Come on, Jill Billy. I know you got something to say about that.
I'm not even touching that.
Keith, do you got my
Come on. I'm just joking.
do you got the mugshot of the month?
I do.
Load that mugshot of the month. Las Vegas.
Is this a new segment now? Mugshot of the month?
Do you want the whole story or
no?
just
a fucking pic, man.
all right? Because we're gonna have to dial it down.
A picture tells 1,000.
Oh my god!
A picture's worth. What's that?
And this
Picture's
was
worth 1,000 words.
this was in the description. And
Every picture tells a story.
all I'm
baby.
curious about is what kind of eyeglass prescription does this guy fucking
He
have?
looks like he's wearing my eyeglasses, fucker. I was like, holy shit, is he wearing the same brand as me?
You're gonna have to change your specs there, brother.
That's James Gina, the third. I wouldn't even go with the third.
As I was reading your article, I just kept saying vagina.
50 years old, charged with murder of
What
his
a fucking
girlfriend. Sad
dumbass.
story in Las Vegas. I thought what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas, but it's apparently on Fox News and all over the world right now on the internet. James has
Unbelievable.
a beautiful face.
Let's break this down right quick.
Let's look at it. He's got horns.
We've got horns.
He's an LA fan.
We've got
So those supposed to be ram horns coming out the top of
That's-
his noggin there? Is that what that is?
or devil
I
horns
guess.
Or
whatever.
Do you think he had like bad acne or something
He's
and
got
just said
some.
fuck it?
He's got some
a couple
great
of elephant
eyeglasses.
trunks?
Or is that a leftover, some kind of side effect of the COVID mask? I mean, fucking A.
Is
What
that like Chinese writing above his eyebrows there?
Who in their
The
right
fuck?
fucking mind?
And if you're gonna get a tattoo to cover up your V-neck spot, you would think you'd wear the same size.
I know. I
V-neck.
wish this picture was just a little bit taller.
It's all
but-
I could do, man.
No. It's all good.
It is. Jesus.
It's impressive.
Can you imagine
What?
Thanksgiving at his house?
Can you imagine him
It's
walking
like-
into your place of business looking for a job?
Yeah.
It's like you're supposed to get tattoos, in like all the obvious areas where the skin isn't exposed. He did the exact opposite.
Kids, a little PSA from one more and I'm out of here. If you're gonna get a tattoo, stay away from the fucking
What's that
face.
shit above his lip there?
I'm really good at customer service.
I'm a people person.
I'm a people person. man.
Jesus Christ. I mean, if you look at it too, the ones that go up like it's a mask actually go across his earlobes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfectly
He was man enough to get a tattoo, but not man enough to pierce his ears.
No, when I,
symmetrical.
when I used to work at the airport flying in
Holy
the
shit.
helicopter back in this is Channel 19 days.
Is that a Cincinnati red C right down there on his neck on the left side?
You know what? It could be.
It looks like it might be. And that's
Or it could be a Chicago Cubs
is that? Oh, it's a fucking necklace with a
like
pendant
a
down in the
wishbone,
middle.
a
I
wishbone
think
C or something.
it's like got a necklace without having to buy a necklace.
But there was a girl that was working at the rental car counter, and she had a bunch of shit on her face, and she was bemoaning the fact that like the best job she could get was working at the rental car counter at Lunken Airport.
Which is a small airport in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Very
and I
small
mean-
airport. Municipal airport.
The rental car counter wasn't any bigger than this table you have. And I said, well, she's like, I don't know why people won't hire me. And I said, have you looked in the mirror? I mean, have you?
Life is
she
full of
was-
choices.
She was a nice girl, and I said, this stuff on your face. I mean,
Yeah.
Working at a call center or some work over the telephone might.
Phone sex 900 number. I mean, that's
There's
your
always
calling
that,
right
yeah.
there, depending on your voice.
I don't know.
You can imagine him being at the front desk of your kid's daycare.
I saw some video on
He's your
On my
kid's
Twitter
preschool teacher.
some guy that was a transgender dude, like had all these tattoos on his face. Anyway, all those and like he's talking against to all the people that follow him, I guess, as if these people have thousands of followers. I didn't get the job, but it's probably because of the tattoos. And all this fucking, I mean, almost not as many as this guy we just saw, but
You know what?
I mean, for God's sake.
Here's the deal, guys. We're gonna do a segment every podcast, and it's gonna be a quick one. Booking photo of the month,
Okay.
and or the show. But there is a deal now that if either one of us doesn't make a show, we got to put a portrait up and recreates one of those past booking photos on that other podcaster's face. It'd be like a Bob Ross type episode.
Well, one of my favorites was one that came out several years ago. Was all these booking photos, and it said I forget what the caption was, but it was something like, a new trend is emerging, and every booking photo you saw, these people had Obama shirts on.
Nice.
I mean, just there's maybe like 50 or 60 of these photos in there.
Was
Obama,
that the one underneath the Trump
Hope
shirt on January 6th?
It's fucking hilarious.
Hey guys, thank you for showing up
Hold on.
tonight.
We got 2 ad reads we got to do.
All right. Go ahead. You got it, Dan?
Go ahead, Dano.
Well, you see the banners above us. Those were created by our friend Randy Corbett at Corbett Graphics, who actually called me during the podcast, and I have to return his call. But if you need signage, if you need banners for a party, for a business, for personal needs, anything like that, check out Corbett Graphics at the website, CorbettGraphics.com, or you can check it out on Twitter and Facebook. Corbett Graphics, he does great work. He does his work at Paycor Stadium, does work for all just a ton of stuff for UC, high schools all over the country. And here's the thing. If you have, let's say, a record board, or you want to do some recognition for a personal achievement for your company or an individual or anything like that, call Corbett Graphics. I mean, they can really help you out. So check them out, Facebook, Twitter, Corbett Graphics. Just great work all the way from original artwork to design concepts to installation. Corbett Graphics, signs and more, enhancing your success.
Thank you, Dan. That was quite nice. I think Corbett.
He's been a great friend of the show. He really has.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Corbett Graphics is much better than Kiefer and I's graphics.
Yes. It's factual.
Here's the deal. I'm not going to read Dan Varner, the Varner Netherton Revival ad read. I'm going to ad lib.
Here we go.
All right. Varner Netherton
wait.
Revival. We got Hawk of Ages coming up Saturday. We're podcasting.
Oh, it's going to be big.
1 to 2 on Saturday. It's supposed to be beautiful here in the Natty. Come to Cincinnati Post 744 on Wilmer. I think it's 744.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Varner's playing at night. Varner Netherton Revival is playing that evening. But it's going to be a fun-filled day starting at noon. Get your wristband, get some beer, get some food. There's going to be vendors there. It's just a great day, great kind of pre-end of summer party. But make sure you're there. Varner Netherton Revival is playing. I believe they're playing at 7 that night.
I believe 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And Justin Edwards, unfortunately, cannot kick Dan's ass that day because he has a scheduling conflict. He thought I gave him the wrong day, but that's fine. Neither here nor there. But he may come late. So he may come down for Varner Netherton and whip, hopefully, Dan's ass. But Varner Netherton are awesome. Scotty Ryan's playing at noon. We're going to interview Scotty hopefully afterwards. Scotty wrote some stuff for Howard Stern, so that should be fun. And we'll talk to Scott. Scott plays breakfast at Tiffany's. Every time I walk into a bar, he's playing. I love it. So plan to hear that when I get there. And thank you, Dan Varner, Varner Netherton Revival OVP, for everything you do for the show. Stay tuned. More big things coming. We have another potential Bengal guest coming on next week, I think. And we're going to try to lock that shit up. But nonetheless, you can see if Dan's still there at 5 o'clock Saturday, you can see Justin Edwards kick his ass because Dan has been taunting the fuck out of him.
What, Hawk of Ages, 5 o'clock?
Noon, Dan. Noon. You're there at noon.
I know, but if we're there at noon, we podcast from 1 to 2, right?
Correct.
I probably won't be there at 5.
Okay.
We got men's night that night.
Yeah, he'll just come to the
fact.
pool and whip
Another big round of poker.
Big round.
How are you going to do on poker that night, you think, Rob, at men's night?
I don't know, Dan, if I show up.
You going to show up?
I don't know, man. I got a lot of stuff to do. I might have to skip.
You gotta know when to hold up.
Yeah. Kenny Rogers.
Know when to fold up.
That was music trivia.
Know when to walk away.
All right. So we're going to conclude the show with this.
Know when to run.
Bad karaoke is everywhere.
You never count your
especially on
money.
our show. The One More and I'm Out of Here News
When
Network
you're sitting
karaoke
at the
night.
table.
We never
Beat
know what
time
Dan
enough
does.
for counting.
Manscape his balls.
When the dealing's done.
Do you, Dan? Do you shave your nuts, Dan? Do you manscape?